Hey there, Soul Shines. It's Michelle here, and it's Thursday.
Things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, yeah. Things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, yeah.
So, July has been Amigurumi month, and I have not been making amigurumis. I finished up a project early in the month, and I was like, nope. I have so many other things on my mind, on my plate, on my to-do list that because of my lack of Crojo and Knitjo, I have been not working on. But this last little while, I've started working on them again. But amigurumis are not among those, so it is what it is. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about amigurumis. So this is a version of amigurumi. Basically, stuffed dolls, stuffed toys of some kind are amigurumis. Before I do that, so I don't forget, I'm going to put in Angela's picture here. She's got a couple pictures, so I'll just do a mini slideshow. I don't think she told me where she got them from this time. If she did, that information will be on the screen or linked below or both. And before we get going, remember to hook that subscribe button, like the video, and leave some yarn, or rather a comment in the comments. Leave me some yarn. Give me a yarn emoji. I really am looking forward to the day when somebody figures out how to leave me a yarn emoji. But just tell me what you're working on. Have you been doing any amigurumis this month? Are you excited? What is next month? I'm going to look really quick. And with the magic of editing, you didn't have to see all that. But August is something made from granny squares. So are you looking forward to granny square month? We only have another week left of July. So are you looking forward to it? I haven't decided about granny squares. I don't love them. I know sacrilege in the crochet community to not love granny squares, but I just don't love granny squares. I never have. Even when I was first taught them back in the 80s, didn't love them. I might, oh, I don't think I have one close by. I might make the little butterflies that start out as kind of a granny square concept. We'll see. Because I've been wanting to make some. Anyway, so amigurumis, I often make up my own. So I was going to talk about my gnome. So the instructions for his hat came from Imagine Landscapes. And I will put a link to her Ravelry because she has all kinds of gnome patterns. And it's knitting. So if you know how to knit and you have not done a gnome, I highly recommend it. They're fun. They're pretty fast. I think actually knitting a gnome is faster than crocheting a gnome, which I find interesting because usually crochet is faster. But for me, gnomes were, I tried crocheting his body and oh my gosh, I was like, seriously, is this ever going to end? Knitting the body went so much faster than single crocheting the body. So, but what I do is when I want to make an amigurumi, I kind of look at the shapes that I want, and I have two options. You can make it, so say I want to have a round head. I can make a ball. There are all kinds of tutorials on how to make balls. Basically, you increase circle rounds for a ways, then you do some non-increase for a ways, and then you decrease circle rounds for ways and you get a ball. All kinds of instructions on that. You could make the whole ball and set it aside and then do whatever you want for your body. Maybe you just want a tube for a body. And then you make your tube and then you sew them together. That's one way. Or you could make the ball to a point and then be like, okay, instead of closing off the ball, I'm going to stuff the head, and then I'm going to start my tube just and leave an opening in the bottom of the circle. Whether you reattach new yarn or you keep going with the same yarn. That's another way to do it. And that way you have less sewing, and so a lot of people like that method. For me, it depends on what I'm making. I don't mind sewing amigurumis together. What I don't like sewing in is ends, but I don't mind sewing amigurumis together. So you would kind of like, although there was a lot of knitting instructions for how to do the nose, I actually crocheted it. And I was just like, well, it looks like this would be about the shape, and so I would crochet it. And that's how I make up my own. I look at the shapes. I'm like, okay, I know how to do this shape. I'm gonna make a circle. I know how to change how I increase. So like if you increase a lot, your shape is going to change drastically. But say if I wanted this to be like a slight angle, instead of doing full-on circles, which would be, since it's a single crochet, doing circle increases would have it increase 6 times, 6 increases on each row. Maybe I'd only do 3 increases. So then it's still growing, but not quite as much. And so that's what you kind of pay attention to when you're designing your own, and everybody can do it. And I know this. When I learned to crochet when I was like 8 or 9 years old from my grandma. And as I started going through, I was like, I want to make something for my Barbie. And so I would just kind of crochet like, oh, this fits around her waist. If I leave a couple strings, then I can tie it. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to increase a lot to get around her hips. And so I would do that. I never wrote down my notes, so it's not like I could recreate it. But I would go around and I would make my Barbie clothes just by saying, well, it needs increases here, it needs decreases here. And I would just put it up to her and be like, okay, well, need more increase there. And that's how I started designing things, is I just started playing around with what can I do. I learned different techniques from other patterns, and then I would apply those to what I knew. And I still do that today. I still, I'll be crocheting something and I'm like, oh, that's a new technique to me. I've never done that before. But then it will show up in other projects because it's like, that makes so much more sense for this. So keep doing that. Keep working off of other people's, but also play around. Try it yourself. See what you can come up with yourself. If you know how to make a tube and a ball, you can make almost anything. Just different size tubes and different size balls, or make a oval by making it longer between with the straight thing so that you're got your 2 rounded ends but a longer stretch between, or do a few increases to make the bottom go out bigger. Keep in mind some of the maths. Sometimes I fudge things. I know that in circle decreases, I'm either going to use, for say single crochet, I'm either going to use 5 or 6 decreases to bring my circle down. So if I have something that's 32 and I need a decrease, what I'll do is a decrease round where I just decrease, like say at the beginning and then like halfway through, and do 2 decreases on that round, and then I'm down to 30. And then I can start decreasing every, spreading my 6 decreases out throughout, and start decreasing just like a circle. What was I working on? Oh, I'll show you. It's not technically an amigurumi because it's not stuffed, and I haven't showed it yet on the channel because I was going to show it on Monday. But I was making, I won't show you the whole thing so you don't see the front. I was making a teacup. And I was figuring it out. I'm like, how far do I need to increase and stuff? And I was realizing that I probably showed up more on the little plate I made, but I wasn't having the right numbers around. So I would have to increase or decrease differently. Like this one, I wanted it to be where I could do normal circle increases. But in order to get just a slight curve, not this curve here, this curve here is because I didn't do any increases on this, but I wanted a slight curve in the plate part. And so I didn't do as many increases along there as I did in my regular circle. But then I did it a couple times and I was like, okay, now I have to figure out how to get it back to my regular circle increases so I could evenly spread out my increases properly. And it took a couple of rows to get the proper things. And those are just things you do. You play around with it, you fudge things until you get it right. And sometimes when you're designing an amigurumi or anything else, you frog things. You're like, okay, that did not turn out the way I wanted it to, and I frog it. I did a lot of frogging on designing those. And no, I'm sorry, I didn't make notes. I'm not going to share them as patterns. It could be fun, but I didn't make notes on them. I might make another one now that I've made one and make some notes. We'll see. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. You know, take things from patterns. Like this was taken from a pattern and I just adjusted things and put things together. I liked the idea of combining knit and crochet into one project. That was a lot of fun. There's things I learned on the snake that I could easily add into another project. Oh, another thing is, so where you put your increases. When you want a circle or a ball to change evenly, then you divide out your increases or decreases evenly throughout. So if you have 30 stitches and you need to go up to 36, you're going to divide 36 by 6 or whatever you're increasing, decreasing by, and then you're going to put that many stitches in each little section with your increases counted in there. So let's see, 36. You would do 4 regular stitches and an increase, which would give you 6 stitches, and that's 6 stitches per section. So many S's right there. Or if you're decreasing, you do the same thing, and it'd be like 2 stitches. 2 stitches in a 3 stitches in a decrease if you were going down. And so you got to pay attention to that. But also, if you say wanted to, like if I wanted him, and I've done this on some, but I didn't on this. If I wanted it to have kind of a bulgy belly, but the back flat, I would do increases in the front, but not increases in the back. And that would just add a little bit of extra fabric in the front. I've done that on other things. I'm going to kind of find some of the pictures of some of the things that I've made and put them up here in a little slideshow of amigurumis that I've designed myself. I think my daughter's guitar counts as an amigurumi because it's stuffed. And I definitely designed that myself. And it's just playing around with shapes, looking at shapes. What shapes do I know? Frogging when it's not working out right. Putting increases or decreases in different places to kind of create the shapes. I believe you can do it. You just have to try it. In fact, I challenge you to try it. Try making up your own. It doesn't matter how silly it is. Try making up your own and send me some pictures. I would love to see it. If you don't want them showed on the channel, just say, I don't want to show this on the channel. I just wanted to show you that I tried it, and that works for me too. But with that, Remember to let your light shine through your creations, especially amigurumis this month. But whatever they be, remember to let your light shine. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.